Is higher than cancer. Is higher than heartbreak. Is higher than any disease. Just speak in tongues if you know how to speak in tongues. Salabando koba shata baba keseboska retebogobos rema baba shata bagozo tokoya ha 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 rotobobobo shata bahaya. Get ready to be blessed.
Your name is glory, all sing praise. In him we are saved. The name of Jesus, higher than all the names. King of all kings, no other name like his. The name of Jesus, higher than all the names. Alpha and Omega, no one. If you believe that, wave your hands to Jesus. Hey, 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 hey.
Jesus. The blind man see in his name. Cancer is gone in his name. The growth disappears in his name. Oh, hey, hey. Call that name. What's his name? You gotta call that name. Over your family. Over your children. Call that name. Mighty name. Call that name. Over your finances, call that name. Over your home, call that name. Over your body, call that name. Whoa. Whatever situation, hey, hey, hey. Of Jesus.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Footstep Show. And today is the 3rd of April 2021. A wise man once said that never compromise your heart. Stop going back to what keep hurting you. If your heart plan doesn't work out, do not worry. God has something better for you. But always remember that our spiritual growth requires the development of our inner knowing and inner authority. And it requires the heart, not our intellectual. And that brings us to today, our topic for today. Growing spiritual during lockdown. How has the lockdown affected you? I know there are so many young people, so many families that are being stressed out during this lockdown. And we want you to join the discussion by going to Footstep Show on Facebook and YouTube. Subscribe, like the page, leave your comment there, and we will address it for you. So on behalf of the team, we welcome you to the show, and we take first with the quote for the day, and then also the spoken word. I'll be right back.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody, and good evening. The quote of today is, re-examine all you've been told, dismiss what insults your soul. Re-examine all you have been told, dismiss what insults your souls, by Wyatt Whiteman. And when I checked at this quote, I said, wow, such a powerful quote. And then I was going through, reflecting on it, and I realized that, hey, I know people like to talk about yourself, about how you're doing things when you're trying to grow in the Lord, and they'll tell you so many stuff that will break you down. But when you need to sit down and reflect and say, hey, did this person tell me, is it good? And if you know that it's not good, just throw it away somewhere and then just keep forwarding and go forward, because you know what you want and where you want to go. So always remember, always try and digest if it's a good thing or a bad thing, because a lot of people like to bring negative things in our life, and it won't help us to be successful in life. So always remember to put these negative stuff, and you know where you want to go and where you want to be. So that's it for today.
God bless our homeland, Ghana. the first nation to attain independence, both to defend forever. What have you got to boast of? Natural resources, good governance, good citizens. Fill our heart with true humility. On the contrary, a person cannot be the utmost if the father of independence left us something without sweating for its younger generation. Let's not celebrate for celebration's sake, but celebrate for the love and gratitude for it's worth it for this beautiful country. Thank you so much. And be an artist. I just decided to do something nice for the country. Thank you.
All right, welcome back. If you have just joined us, this is a Full Step Show. Today we are talking about growing spiritually during the lockdown. We want to know how has the COVID affected your family. We know that so many people are going to stress. Students have to really sit on a computer to study. Family are going through so many tremendous breakouts, and that is really affecting a lot of family. But oftentimes during this time, someone will say that is a time that we need to really get closer to God. Is that the case of you? Share your thoughts. You know, you can visit us on Facebook and YouTube. Just drop your comment over there, like the page, and subscribe, and we will address your question for you. My guest for today is Apostle William, and he will be helping us. Sissy will also join us with the discussions, and we'll be looking at perspective as a young lady. How has the COVID affected you, and how does she cope with this? So I want to welcome Apostle. Good afternoon, good evening, and how are you doing? And happy Easter.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Good afternoon and good evening to our listeners and those who are watching us. And today, Full Step team. It's every day thinking about the Lord Jesus Christ and what He did for us, and then this pandemic and what God has in store for us.
Yeah, I think we have a lot to really talk about it. Some people even feel disconnected from their family. But we want to really start. What has this pandemic affected our spiritual growth? How has it affected our spiritual growth?
Well, to me, I think that I don't want to say it has affected that. I want to use the word impacted. The impacts of our prayer life or prayerlessness have been tested because of this COVID. You see, hitherto we're all hiding in the shadow, praying. We are going for prayer meeting, we are going for worship and everything. But now we have been brought back to ourselves. No group meetings, no prayer meetings, no times to sing and worship together. No one can go on one-on-one evangelism if we're even doing it. There is no outreach program to hospitals, to schools, to all those places, and no group retreats. You can't go anywhere for a personal retreat anymore. It has impacted us in a lot of ways, because now public worship, which most of us were depending on for our spiritual nourishment, has been taken from us, and that in itself is a huge challenge. Families which were, we say they were Christian families, sort of, I won't use that word in quotes, Christian families which had no rules and everything. Now we've been tested. It's like, if you said this is what you were doing, for real, show us. So I think that we've been impacted by it in a tremendous way, in a very tremendous way. That is what I think has happened. So questions have been asked.
So as we look at it, that you quoted imparted. So how do we maintain our spiritual growth in the midst of this pandemic?
Okay. The first thing we need to understand is that because today is Bible, I want to be reading a few scriptures. Matthew, I want to go to Matthew chapter 6, and I want to read a very Luke chapter 6, and there's something I want us to look at over there. We always want to get a good spiritual life, but we miss this aspect. So I want us to understand for sure from Psalm 11 verse 3, the Bible says that if the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? So in order to grow spiritually, we are being questioned to go back to our spiritual lives. Our spiritual lives, what are the things that form up our spiritual life? We are looking at what we call our spiritual disciplines. And someone was asking, what do we mean by spiritual disciplines? The things that identify the Christian as a Christian, the practices, these are things that indicate that somebody is a Christian. For example, issue of regular quiet time, issue of personal prayer of 1 hour. Because Jesus in the garden said that you could not wait with me for 1 hour. So the personal prayer, that personal standard of one-on-one in prayer with God alone for 1 hour consistently is a spiritual discipline. Daily reading of the Bible is a spiritual discipline. Regular study, at least every Christian is supposed to study the Bible once or twice a week. Once on your own, and then once with a group. So with the COVID's impact, the pandemic's impact, there's been a lot of problems. One I come to question is whether we were really doing these things. Issues of fasting, issues of soul winning, the discipline of walking in holiness, the discipline of obedience. So these are what we call the spiritual discipline. So if we are looking at our growing spiritually during the pandemic, we want to understand that first, growth takes time. The first thing we should not forget and keep is time. Are you with me? The reason is that a lot of people want to grow, but they don't have the patience. If it's going to grow, then you're going to take time. If you are 20 years old, you are not just born, you started crying, and then you are 20 years old. It took you years. You had to practice how to walk. You had to practice how to eat. You hold the head of the spoon and try to use the handle to scoop food. Now you can hold the handle. And one thing I want to put across is that there's this, you can learn the thing by just reading about it and then recite what it is. Christianity, this discipline, prayer, Bible reading, Bible study, fasting regularly is something you have to practice in order to become good at. So if you want to learn how to pray, you start by praying and you become good with prayer. A lot of us want to grow spiritually, we want to mature spiritually, but we don't have the patience. Be prepared to start very slow. Be prepared that as you are considering growth spiritually, you are going to deal with some difficulties. You're going to deal with yourself. And here I want to say that the greatest enemy you'll be fighting is not the devil but yourself. In wanting to contact yourself.
So in other ways, you had said we need to be prepared for our group.
Sure.
Let's look at it. I know you are a family man. Did the lockdown have an impact on your family? And right from there, we'll also be connected to Cecilia. Cici will be telling us more about young people perspective and also being a student. How did it also? So let's look at your apostle. Did it have impact
now
on you as
sure.
a family?
Yeah, it's going to happen because in the world that we are in, we are free to move about under the restrictions, keeping a few of those rules. Now the thing is that a lot of families don't have rules. A lot of families don't have timetable. They don't have set up routines to regulate their prayer life, to regulate when they do quiet time together and all that. So if the family didn't have it and now you're in lockdown, you're going to stay in the same house together, it's going to be boring. And something you have not been doing, suddenly you have to now rush around and quickly try and sit the whole family down and say, hey, we are not going to move by a timetable. And everybody resists change. So it's going to be difficult. So that's what's going to happen. But then to grow spiritually as a family, we need to set up time we get up together, which time we're going to pray together, which time we're going to sit in a circle and we take turns reading a passage of the Bible daily. It's not going to be Bible. Somebody says it's going to be boring. It's not going to be boring. You can set topics to talk about every day. And in an environment where you have this social media and that, you can just go and Google and everybody will learn something. So as a family, we have to set routines. So it affected us because kids were going to school and you were going to work. And when you came, everybody was tired, you were rushing around. Now, you're going to be locked in the house 24 hours. So you have to quickly come up with rules. You have to quickly come up with activities. You have to quickly come up. You have to plan your day, involve spiritual disciplines. When we are focused on work discipline in this family, when we are doing that. And remember, it's not only the spiritual aspect only that you have. You have about 7 areas of your life. You're going to look at the family structure itself. You're going to look at training issues, education issues, information. You're going to look at your health. You're going to look at what you eat and other things. So you have to have a timetable when we are focusing on what. Otherwise, staying in the house is going to be boring. And unless the father or the mother has to travel around, do a few things and come back home. But if all of us are going to be in this same house, except to step out and pick groceries, then we have to come up with activities very fast, and I did.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I have one young person who also shared his views on this. We'll take that view right after this break, and then after, Cici will join us with her thoughts, and we continue with the discussion. So we'll be right back.
Okay.
After the thoughts. All right, so we can't continue. Let's continue, and right after that, I think the technical team is working so hard for us to really get this up. So, Apostle, let's really look at how do we cope with feeling disconnected and lonely. How do we really feel, or how do we cope with feeling disconnected and lonely?
I think that we have already been disconnected, just that the pandemic made it real. Social media has disassociated us for a very long time. That made it clear that we have been disconnected and we have been lonely. We are in a global world, everybody is surfing the net and everything, but we are disconnected. So how do we deal with it? This is the time you create time for bonding. As a family, you want to sit and look at talking about life. The father can share his life mistakes and everything for the children to learn. The mother can also share. And let me put a heads up, there's going to be a lot more friction because we've been used to going out, let's say 16 hours of the day and coming back to spend the last 8 hours in the house, and now we want to spend the whole 24. There's going to be tension. So you have to have a timetable or a routine where you are able to tell that from this time to this time is time alone. So everybody can go into their own corner, do their own thing, and then at this time the family comes together. This is the time you want to make good use of audio books. If you're a father or mother and you have to travel around, you want to grow spiritually, you want to download some audio books about prayer, audio books about holiness. You can have audio Bible playing in the house. So whilst people are playing up and down, you can be listening to them. You can also download very good movies, being the parent. So once a day, the whole family will want to sit in the couch together, mommy, daddy, children, everybody around. You want to sit in the hall and watch the movie. And after that, you turn off the TV and you discuss the movie. It's a bonding we must create. We have already been disconnected. And if you have distant families in the city, let's say somebody's in Toronto, somebody's in Ghana, your family member, somebody's in Montreal, here and there, you can get, I think you have FaceTime, you have Zoom meetings, where you will come on and share life together once a day, and everybody can laugh. You do the same for the children, when nieces and nephews can do it. And I think that the loneliness will be broken. But whether we like it or not, there will be an aspect of loneliness, because we have not been staying together for a very long time. And because of the COVID, the pandemic, now we have to be together. There's going to be a few frictions. And this is the time I want to say that we must respect people's views and then give them the time. Let's try to understand people and accommodate people. Otherwise, we will all be in the same house and everybody will be in their room the whole day. So there should be a time where there's no social media time. We are sitting together. Dad is not holding the phone. Dad is not on the laptop. Mommy is not on the phone with someone. Cousin is not here. We are all sitting in a circle and we're just talking. And I wrote some things here. This is the time the family can come up with core values, principles that you want the family to grow up with. You want to come up with it. And then you give an assignment. Okay, today we are going to talk about excellence as a core value for this family. We want everybody to go and make a research, and everybody's going to give a presentation. Guess how the family is going to be? Everybody's going to be on his or her tablet searching about excellence. So the loneliness that we had, and everybody's in a hurry to come together. And when we finish, you just reward the person who did well with some candy or some cake or pastry or something. And everybody will be active the next day because we want to give a good presentation. Yeah, I mean, some ice cream, you guys have some cherry on it, and people will be happy. Yeah. And you know, if today is daddy's turn to come and present on integrity, now we now have to set principles. Now you also have to set an agenda of topics for every day. So let's say on the fridge, you have a sticky note. I have one here. You have a sticky note and you just fix it on the fridge. Today we are discussing, let's say, finances. And then you stick it on TV, you stick it on the fridge, you stick it on the bathroom door, you stick it all over the place. Sticky notes are there. We'll be talking about this, we'll be talking about that. Then suddenly we call and we say, Danny, you are the one talking. You'll be like, oh. Immediately everybody snaps to attention that, hey, if they put the topics around, somebody must be working. So even though we're in the house, we're having fun. You can have your own little treasure hunt. Maybe get some small chocolate in a box and clues all over the house. And then maybe have the mommy and daddy will sit down, uncle and auntie will say, okay, kids, come around. There's a treasure hidden somewhere in this house. Find it. You see, the ability to read the instructions and follow, we are helping the children to develop their cognitives. We are helping them to think. We are helping them to be sensitive. We are helping them to develop certain skills like observation. So when the children wake up this time, they're not just going to walk through the house like they have been walking through. Now their eyes are sharp, looking on the bathroom floor. They are looking on the door. They are looking on the fridge. They are looking at the dressing mirror. Anything, because a note can be somewhere. There's a chocolate hidden. So kids now become attentive and sensitive. The other thing we can also do is that I called Discovery Hour or the hot seat. Every day put some about what they want to be and what they can do, and then ask them questions, offer suggestions. And for those of us who are adults, it's also the time for us to sharpen our skills. I wrote something, I want to read it. I said that when preparation meets good performance, when you have already prepared and you meet opportunity, your performance is great. So this is the time you're not just going to sit in the house. You're going to read books. Parents, you can buy the same book. Let's say if you are 10 in the house, it's going to be costly, but in the end, you're going to benefit from it greatly. Let's say you go out and you pick a book on courtesy. courtesy for boys and girls. There's a book in Ghana like that. I read it. I've read it so many times, and I recently gave it to my nephew. So you buy a book like that and you bring it to the house. We are 5 in the house. Everybody has a copy. Everybody can read. So okay, today we're going to talk about this. So we have 1 hour or 2 hours. We'll be talking about at 4 p.m. So since morning to 4 p.m., everybody must read. So when we come together to discuss, indirectly you begin to deal with the issues of the youth. You see, we are complaining people are immorally unstable and everything, but we are not doing some of these things. So these are the times you buy books on management and you share to everybody in the family. We read a chapter a day or 2 chapters a day. We come to discuss in the evening after dinner. We discuss. We read a chapter today. I'm giving free consultation. You're looking at me. I get me. These are things that people have to do them in order for families to flourish, so that we don't feel disconnected. The stress will be gone. The pressure from the responsibilities we presume to have will also be gone. And amazingly, there will be new drive, because when it's prayer time, we are coming with a devotional guide. All of us have one. We are coming to share what we have discovered from the devotion today. Okay, today we're all going to read, let's say, John chapter 1 from the Gospel of John from chapter 1 to chapter 4. And tomorrow when we come, everybody will tell me what they discovered. You see, every time there's an activity going on in the house, once a while you want to do your own family fun party, you get some popcorn, you order some popcorn from the grocery shop, some ice cream, you just sit around, you share life. Mommy can talk about good old days and then use it to encourage the children. So you realize that there's always something. Just buy one book. Today, Mommy reads chapter 1 and discusses with us. Tomorrow, firstborn is reading chapter 2. So you realize that there's always an activity in the house. If you are leaving the house for a work or something, you can download some good movies or some seminar that you chance on online and put it, and the whole family can sit and watch it. So it's to build our personal relationship with God. And on this time, because all of us are together in the house, if Monday we are all fasting, nobody can complain about stomach ulcer or anything. Stomach, no holiday. No, you can't do that. Everybody, the fridge is locked. There's only water available. If we are doing fruit fasting, fruit is in the house. So everybody, so you see, this is where we can really build our spiritual discipline. We don't look at the pandemic. I think the pandemic is a blessing, because many of us don't have a personal relationship with the Lord. We don't have a personal relationship with the Lord. So this is an opportunity for us to rebuild, repair our spiritual disciplines, repair our spiritual foundations, go back to doing regular quiet time. Somebody has been a Christian for 20 years and has never read the Bible cover to cover before, but this is an opportunity to want to say that I want to read the Bible. And amazingly, you can read the Bible within 40 some few days. You can read the whole Bible cover to cover. Some few days.
All right. So Apostle, we'll hold on to this, and
okay,
let's take some few comment. One comment from one young person, and we'll take a break, and then we'll come back and look at how do we balance, and then we want to hear from Sissy in terms of young people and students. What are their perspective on that? We'll be right back. All right, I think in between that, can we continue?
affected me in many ways, especially in my educational life and my social life. Educational life, in the sense that I'm limited to the materials I use for school, because I'm an artist, so I deal with paint and plaster and clay, which I don't have at my disposal because I have to order them online and it takes a while before it gets in. So by the time it gets in, I'm late for submitting my work for school. So that's one point I think COVID has affected me in my educational life. And sitting behind the camera, the screen for a long time, kind of it has an effect on me too, with my eyes and everything. It's quite stressful sitting behind the camera, just staring at the camera the whole time for the lecturer to just teach. And in my social life, in a sense that I don't really have time to spend with my family. I don't go outside feeling free. I hardly spend time with my friends outside, and I hardly meet new people. So that's another point I think COVID has affected me. Thank you.
All right, welcome back. If you have just joined us, you are watching The Footstep. So today we are looking at growing spiritually during lockdown. And my guest is Apostle William. We'll also be joined by Cecilia, who will be telling us a little bit about her perspective on the lockdown. And you can also share on YouTube. Just leave your comment and will be read over this. So let's bring Cecilia and Apostle back and let's look at. Hi Cecilia, hi Apostle.
Hi.
I guess all of you are doing well. Hi. So let's listen to you, Cecilia.
How did COVID affected me as a student is that, I'm working at the same time as a student. So I was still working from home because that time when we started going on lockdown, a lot of things were going because I was still taking public transportation. It was very risky to go to work by public transportation. But at school, as a part-time student, everything just went on pause. And you're like, okay, you go home, everything is back to computer. I think we were even in the process of going on an internship, a mini internship in a senior home, and they said no more. So we had lost a lot of good things I wanted to learn, and it all went down. I think I got really stressed. I was anxious. I was like, wow, a whole new thing. So it took time for myself, my other colleagues, and even the teachers to get back to do online class. Well, it was a lot, but on the perspective of work, I was home for I think 2 weeks because they were kind of scared that I might bring the virus to work and it might shut down the whole place. So we had to take time. So while I was home, I learned new stuff. I had to do some work stuff online. They had sent me some work to do. Doing Zoom with my kids, on Zoom with them once every week so we can catch up, teaching them what they're supposed to learn. So it was like a whole perspective of, I got to learn more things about using online and technology stuff than if I was actually in the classroom or at work with my little kids. So it affected me in a good and a bad way at the same time. Good way is that I was able to learn new stuff, and the bad way is it's not like before where you can go meet everybody, have some physical activity with the kids, go in a school, meeting people, and get to talk, dialogue with them. And then bad way is everything just went down. You're like, oh my goodness, how am I going to do all this? How am I going to survive this pandemic? So, yeah.
So did you feel lonely one way or the other?
Yes, I would say yes. I felt lonely.
There was some loneliness.
Oh yes, I think there was loneliness big time because you don't get to meet with your colleagues, your school colleagues at school. You don't get to go to university to be dialoguing with other people. You don't get to go to work like as used to, because we were doing emergency essential workers, so we're only accepting like 2 or 3 children per day. Depending, it could be the same children, it would be long, so it's not like you felt lonely, like you at work, you might be alone, you might be with another person who's like in a different age group, was not with that same age group, so you're like, how are we gonna do this, you know? So I felt lonely at some point. Like I'm not able to go out with my friends to eat in a restaurant. I'm not able to have like get together with my coworkers at work for us to be enjoying, dialoguing, brainstorming of what we can do next with the kids who are moving up in the next year. So yeah, I did feel a bit lonely.
All right, so Sissy, just say that we continue. I know you'll be bringing in a few concerns and a few topics about. Apostle, let's really look at it. Now we've heard from the young person perspective how the lockdown was. So how do we balance it? Let's really, is someone listening to us? How do we balance our spiritual growth with all the circumstances that we find ourselves in? The responsibilities, the stress, and the uncertainty that we find ourselves in. How do we balance ourselves in? And then we'll come to Cecilia to really find how will she also balance herself? You know, she had really learned so many careers and new things from this.
Well, thank you and good evening, Cecilia. I think that we need to understand that we were not meant to stay indoors. If you do sociology, you are told that man is by nature a gregarious being. That means he likes to go out, he likes to have fun. That is how he's meant to be. So in the first place, leaders have to understand, parents have to understand, it's not easy staying. The way of punishing you for crime is to keep you in a prison. Even though they allow you to come, you are restricted, put strong go anywhere. In itself comes with a lot of pressure on you. But then we have to also understand that we are creative, and we need to tell this thing we run our life. It's not going to be easy, and I'm not saying that it has not been for me. Like Cecilia was saying, I had to learn how to go on Zoom, and previously you talk about Zoom, my own mind, but now it's like you have to do. And for me personally, it was a blow to me because I'm a professional certified life coach, and I just finished my specialization in business and leadership and relationship. I just did my inaugural seminar, and then boom, we had planned a big one. And the Monday, actually, the lockdown Sunday, Monday, I was doing my biggest show. I had to drain and everything. And clients that I had, I was meeting one-on-one. I couldn't meet them. So quickly, I had to come back to what Cecilia was saying. I had to learn how to meet them and everything. It's not going to be easy. And then the uncertainty that we should not worry ourselves with. The reason why I say this is that expecting something, if I'm waiting, let's say I'm going out with Cecilia, and then she's dressing, and I know she's going to be done in some hours. I'm just waiting. You see, I know she's going to be done. But if I'm waiting on her and she's not getting ready, so keeping our eyes on when this is going to be lifted is going to rid us of our creative abilities. So now let's look at what we can do. Yes, screen time is going to disturb you. So now we may have to adapt to some colorful things, get some green colors and some multicolored stuff, scenery on your laptop or on your TV. So screen time can put a lot of strain on your eyes. Then you play those videos to just help your eyes to recalibrate itself, because looking on the same screen for a very long time is going to give you a problem. Or you can have some beautiful colors in your room. If you watch the screen for some time, you just flip and look on it, or you open your window. You are not going out, but you can look outside. Look outside for a while. It helps your brain to go. And once your eye gets relaxed, the pressure on your brain also comes down. Now, how do we balance it with our spiritual growth, with all these changes? And it's like almost every day something new is coming up. How to play that? Almost every morning you wake up, some new thing is putting pressure on you. So it goes back to routine. First things first. When I wake up in the morning, what goes first? And this is where we have to go back to practicing what we have been told in seminars, to-do list. So before you sleep, let's say you are get the thing and then stick it somewhere. Just put it on your laptop, just like that. It's there. And as I'm giving you the talk, everything I did, I wrote on sticky notes. So they are all just on my laptop, and I'm just looking at it and talking to you on it. So I just have them on my laptop. So when I wake up, for example, spiritual growth, I don't touch my laptop, I don't touch my phone until I finish my quiet time. It's a discipline. I don't talk to anybody on phone until I have prayed, unless it's an emergency. Whether it's an emergency or anything, I have to pray before I touch my phone. And there's something called the 5 minutes rule. The moment you wake up, quickly, as soon as you wake up on your bed, you sit down, you pray, and then you set your day in motion. This is what I'm going to do today, this is what I'm going to do. And then at the end of the day, before you go to bed, check all of them. You cross them out. The ones you're not able to do, you put them on the new list as the to-do list. But then